So what was the straw on the camel's back specifically?
Dude, I did a line, and I was on like kind of a work trip area, was on doing some stuff, but I hit my head. My girl comes in, I'm bleeding, she's yelling. I go to the ER, I get stitched up, and it, not that caused something specifically, but it was just the wrong people knew, and now they're like, dude, this dude's losing it. Now he's like falling and hitting himself, and you know, I look like a fucking pincushion with all the scars all over my face from all the stuff in my life, but that was it. It was like, okay, man, and the VC boss at the time, he goes, dude, you were an asset, now you're a liability. And that was a really powerful thing that I have remembered since that moment. Dude, I felt like I wanted to cry, dude, when I heard that, because as maybe I have some insecurity in me or something, or like I always want to be valuable to people and I don't want to be disliked. You know, I definitely probably have that. And hearing that you're a liability, man, you're not even an asset. He goes, you were my biggest asset and now you're my biggest liability. I was like, just crushed, and separated myself from that situation. I was like, I got to kind of change what I'm doing. And I left the city and went to a different place. I actually went to the big island of Hawaii, where he's like, you know, hold tight, and then we might have some other business, you know, ventures for you to get into for us out there. Never came to fruition. And so then I'm just out there and I run out of money and find myself homeless in my car like 3 months later.
On the big island.
On the big island, man, in the jungle, man, way down there by the volcanoes erupting. And I had gotten off the painkillers by design. I separated myself to where I had no, and kind of some interesting spiritual experiences out there. I don't know if I was losing my mind or maybe gaining it, but I got off the first month of the first week I was there, and dude, that was rough. People who have gotten off that had it. I thought I wasn't addicted, dead serious. I had these like few days where I wouldn't do them, but I would have these like withdrawal symptoms, but I didn't know what they were, right? I just wasn't really like connecting the dots. Now I was about a week in and I'm like 3, 4, 5 days, no sleep. I could not sleep. My body was just wanting to crawl out of its skin. And I'm trying to do everything to, you know, weather the storm. Finally come out of it, have some clarity, body starts healing. I'm still sipping on vodka pretty much every day and doing Adderall and stuff, but shed that part. And purposeless. This was a really painful time in my life, actually. This was one of the most painful chunks of time I've ever had in my life, was actually there. You can be in heaven and be in absolute hell. You know, I was in Hilo, Hawaii, so I'm living out there. I'm kind of waiting for the next thing, and emails kind of get cut off, and now I'm changed my phone number to just, and now I'm alone, man. And it wasn't so much the isolation as what was I doing? Like, where was I building? I mean, I just was waiting for something that wasn't coming, and I had this moment where I went, dude, why don't I go in the Foreign Legion? I had this moment, and I go, what? And I look around, and I had this like well of hope come into me of like, oh, dude, there's nothing holding me back. I got no kids. I would have gone to the Legion before, but I had a girlfriend and a job. So I thought it was kind of irresponsible. Now I'm like, dude, I don't have nothing now. Oh, and then I went, okay, I'm gonna put that on the side, and that if I don't have some things organized by this date, then I'm gonna go. And I did. And well, I ended up setting it there, and in that time, dude, I was like having these guidances to like the Bible and seeing scriptures in places. I don't know if I was losing it or what, dude, but I had this stuff guiding me to the book of Enoch. I didn't know what it was. And then I felt like there was people I was encountering that were in, it was wild. I still to this day think back, dude, and I've really tried to analyze that, and I still haven't come to like real answer about it. But I was having some really powerful moments. There was something transformative happening. And I had this vision of, I actually had met this homeless kid. And it was right when I got off of, the painkillers and stuff. I stopped to just ask him if he had some weed. This is why. I go, hey, dude, do you have any weed? He goes, yeah, I have some dabs or whatever. He goes, can you give me a ride? I said, yeah. Well, you give me a ride. Where do you need to go? He goes, dude, I got to go way up to this like taro farm, right? Way up in this valley. He goes, do you need 4-wheel drive though to get there? Like, all right, dude. And so by chance that morning, I had a rental car and I went, dude, I want to go get something 4-wheel drive. Dead serious. And I went down and they changed me out for a 4-wheel drive Nissan truck. I picked this guy up. He goes, you got to go down there. And he took me down into Waipeo Valley. People that are familiar, it's the steepest residential street in all of the United States. It's steep. You can't even drive down it anymore. It's illegal. For people who don't live down there. And I was going down this thing and it's pitch black. Mind you, it's like midnight. And I'm going, oh man, dude. And I'm like, where am I going? Go down and then it's like quiet. I hear this river going. We drive across this river. I drop him off for the night. But on the way there, he gave me LSD. Gave me a tab of LSD. And I'm going, let's give it to me, man. Whatever. And so I take it. Dude, I had a vision from, people call it whatever they want, but I had this crazy vision of like my tattoos getting finished, Foreign Legion going, and like all this stuff tying in. And then when I got back to my apartment, I was seeing this stuff again and again, and I'm like, still clear, not like out of my mind, but just like, okay. And then I knew what I needed to do. I knew what I needed to do. And when it all came crashing down and I'm in this, but I had kind of forgotten it after a couple months, right? That stuff, I'm like, I know I'm going to Foreign Legion, but let me try to figure out my life type thing. Now I'm homeless in my car. I have a sawed-off shotgun next to me. Talk about a low point. No money, no anything, no food, no water. I just sat in my car and walked around and thought about killing myself or how I'm going to do this or just how terrible I felt and have nothing. And I realized, dude, had that moment of clarity from God going, dude, this is your fault. Fix it. Don't leave destruction in your pathway, in your wake to your mom, your sister, because you made a bunch of selfish choices. Nut up, grab your nuts, get going. And I went, all right, I'm going to join the Foreign Legion. This is the time. So that's what I did, man. I called my mom. I had like gas on E, $6 in my account. I didn't want to drive my car because I didn't want it to like run out of gas. And so I had just been sitting there waiting for like a phone call or something, and it never came. But the call I got was from God, dude. And it was, dude, sack up, go handle some shit, go get yourself cleaned up. I smelled like a homeless guy. And that's what I did, man. I told my mom, hey, I have a plan. I don't want you to worry, but I'm at a rock bottom. But if this is a rock bottom, this is probably about as good as a rock bottom as you could have, right? So I took some fast cash loans out and organized my life and took a flight to France, man.
How old are you at this time?
How old? 34. So I had no spring chicken. So now I'm going into boot camp, infantry boot camp at 34.